First thing that we have to do is readjust where we're at. I think you always have to be able to do that. I think it's very, very important this week as we look forward towards, first of all, towards Western Michigan, that we understand that this is a football game in the middle of a Big Ten season, and we need to get ourselves ready to go emotionally. But I think the main thing is we need to focus on where we're at as a football team. With that, what I mean by that is we have to understand where we're at. I don't think we're going to win the Big Ten championship this year. I think that's a reality right now. We've lost 3 games in the conference. I do think our goals need to be going to a bowl game, regardless of which bowl game that is, moving towards a bowl game. I think our goals now have to be win out in November. I think that's a realistic goal, and I think that's something that we need to point to. We pointed to winning the last football game regardless of where we were at. So that's a goal for us. And then, the bowl game things. We were a 5-5 team after 10 weeks in 2007. Won some close games in 2008. But, that's where we're at. So you have to be able to deal with it. I think you have to be able to face reality, where you're at, readjust your goals, and move forward. I just think that's what you have to do. We've come up short. We've lost some respect. It's about rebuilding respect. It's about building that fire, I think, that I talked about on Sunday from within to get ourselves ready to play on a weekly basis. I'm not saying we weren't ready to play this last Saturday, but we need to understand and be able to execute as coaches and as players on a constant basis. When you don't win, you don't get the prize. There is no prize for second place. I mean, you either win or you lose. You can say why you won, why you lost, all these different things, and you can lay it out there, but it's one or the other. So we have to always deal with that. I feel that's very important because your competitive nature as a person and as a player and as a football team will directly correlate with how you feel about that. And it's sort of, it gets you irritable. And I think we want our players irritable. So that's why I say that. We want our coaches irritable. I think that the one thing that we have to understand, or I've tried to come to grips with, and our team needs to come to grips with as well, is that, 2 weeks ago, we were a team that was rebounding. 2 weeks ago, we were a team that was playing to be 4-1. So 2 weeks ago, our thoughts were, are we going to be in first place? 2 weeks ago when I stood here, our thoughts were, are we going to be in first place at the end of this week or not? Now 2 weeks later, we sit here and say we have a whole different outlook on where we're at. And I think that's the thing that you have to recognize and realize is that, these things change very, very quickly. And they can change again and they can move forward again. The inconsistency in our football team, I don't know if it's inconsistency. We're not winning close games as much as we want to win them. And I don't think it's any one thing. You can point to missed opportunities if there's one thing. But, 2 games ago, those didn't catch us. They didn't sneak back up and catch us. The last 2 games they did. What I'm talking about is goal line. For 4 weeks in a row, we played very well defensively. Very well defensively. This last week we didn't. Now, Minnesota gets some of the credit for that. I think their quarterback played extremely well, and I thought they caught the ball in traffic extremely well. But, there's always little things, I guess. You want to run the football more consistently. That's a natural thing that we want to be able to do. But we're working at it, and you see us do it okay. We haven't had a 200-yard rushing game yet, but you see us do it okay, enough to stay balanced, and that's what we want to try and do. You're only as good as your last game. That's all you got, really. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, we can say what we want. I remember we were 11-1 or 10-1 one year, where I was at, and we lost our last game, and we were bums. But we were great the next game we won. So, I mean, that's the nature of what we do for a living. That's the nature of what we do as a football player, whether you're in the NFL or whether you're here or whether you're in high school. I think that's just something you have to be able to accept. But we have all the reasons to play this Saturday, believe me. You want to look to the second game of the season. If you want a reason to play, look to the second game of this season. So we'll be focused. For those people who've been around me as a person for the last 3 years and who know me as a person, it really doesn't matter who we play this week. We'll be ready to play.